Nice to see some returning faces, and everybody's audio is still connecting, so no one can hear me yet. Welcome, everybody. Good to hear you. Good to see you. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you all hear me? Is this Jessica still trying to connect? Hello, hello. Welcome. Can you hear me now? Yes? Yes? Okay. Can I get a hello or something in the chat so I know you can hear me? Roberta, I see you can hear me. Can everybody else hear me? It's good to see you. Welcome, Heather, Larissa, Roberta, Jenny. So excited to have you all. Oh, Jessica just popped in. So as we get started, as people are starting to pop in, I would love to hear, like, what was your what shifted? What did you notice today for yourself after last night's class? Just drop it in the chat for me. What did you notice today for yourself after last night's training? What did you do for yourself differently? What you know, we talked about yesterday was all about the power of tuning in. So what did you do? What was different for you today? What did you notice different for yourself? Was it just awareness? Did you notice, did you do some of the exercises that was suggested? Because we talked about, you know, being a bystander versus being a participant in your life. So you really want to look at being a participant in your life. I think yeah. Yes. So what did you guys do? What worked for you? What did you notice for yourself? Anybody gonna chat with me today? Drop it in the chat. What did you notice for yourself? Is the chat not working? You guys see the chat? Can you guys hear me? Irish, can you hear me? Okay, all right. I think you can. I started with a meditation. Okay. And I was in a better mood. Awesome. Awesome. So you really were working on detoxing your crown chakra and grounding yourself. You did some grounding exercises, also accepted a situation coming and felt calm. Beautiful, Heather. That's amazing. Anybody else want to share? If you haven't watched yesterday's recording, you love the training. Beautiful. If you haven't watched yesterday's recording or want to rewatch it, it is up in our Facebook group. Irish, can you go ahead and drop the chat in the chat, the link to the Facebook group, so that you can watch the replay. It did go out via email this morning, so I want to make sure you're all are connected and watching it. Okay, so we are going to get started on day 2 today. Today is a really powerful day. Yesterday was all about learning what's working, what's not working, tuning into your body and taking some action in regards to beginning to open up your chakras, you're balancing them. I'm going to encourage you for today to have 2 pieces of paper. One that you could possibly rip up if you don't want it. So if it's in a journal, I don't want it to ruin your journal, but you're going to do an exercise where you have the opportunity to save this paper or release it. You'll get to decide. So before we start fully in today, I just want to remind you that there is the opportunity to still purchase the VIP bundle. It's only $27 and it gives you an opportunity to ask questions directly to me at the end of our training. It gives you an opportunity to do a live healing with me next week, as well as a 20-minute call with one of my coaches, as well as 2 powerful healing recordings that you get to have lifetime access to. It's a really, really wonderful opportunity to be supported, to be helped, to dig in a little bit deeper, to invest in yourself, to invest in your change. So those that were on last night, if you just want to drop a comment in about how that, having that opportunity in the VIP was for you, that would be wonderful. So we're going to start on day 2, and day 2 is all about your emotions. I'm going to ask for you to stay through the whole process today, because we're going to dig in, and I don't want you to leave during part of the process where you might be in an in-between emotional state. And so when I say I'm going to take you through a process, we're going to go through, but I want to make sure I get you through to the other side, right? So if you leave before we get to the other side, you might leave in an emotional state that doesn't feel great. And I don't want to do that to you. I want you to have the breakthrough. So commit now to staying full, to be fully present, to stay from here to the end, so that you can move through whatever you choose to work on today. And so yesterday was an amazing day, and we're going to just continue that path. We're going to continue to go through that process. So remember, the fastest way to healing is to reconnect with yourself, your heart. And this is an opportunity right here today to put yourself first, heal some things that are going on in your life without having to talk about it and not having to relive the whole situation, but to simply just feel it and release it. Feel it and release it. So as you do that, that allows you to start to take these layers off, these stories off, these associations, these feelings and beliefs that you've had covering your heart. The only reason we have dis-ease in our body, which is anytime you feel uncomfortable or have some physical disease in your body, is because there's layers of protection or layers of stories and associations that you have that's covering your heart from truly what it wants. You were born, you were born to be your authentic self, but when we have experiences, potentially certain experiences cover up who you truly are, and you start to make up different rules on how you have to be, what you have to look like, if you should say things, if you shouldn't say things. And it reminds me of a woman I used to work with. Her name is Sheila, and she was so good at covering up her emotions, her true emotions. She was the support system of our household. She was in management at her job, and she was really, nervous about stepping into her emotions because she had hid her emotions for so long. And so I share this with you because you're going to get to be able to release and move through emotions without having anybody know what you're working on. How cool is that? Like, you get to work through and process and release and have a big transformation today without having to relive a story, retell a story, without having to talk about it. And I will say this, some people are so used to talk therapy that they're like, well, I want to be heard. I want my voice. I want this and I want that. And I want to share with you, there's always opportunity to share. But when you're healing, in the work that I do, you don't actually have to go through and rehash out. We get to identify what the challenge is, the root of the challenge, because I'm not working on surface level. We get to work on the root of the challenge and release it. And sometimes we have to ask questions to get to the root. And once we get to the root, then we do the transformational work to process it and move it through. So Sheila, when she was able to come through this, she was able to begin to open up. She ended up putting in for an interview and worked, got a raise, what's that called? Like a promotion, and in her job. And she was also was able to start to build better relationships and better boundaries with her children so that she could empower them. I also worked with a woman that was so lost in her emotions, that lost with who she was, because she was a caregiver and she literally lost herself caring for others, and she isolated herself and she put herself on the back burner and totally had no idea who she was, and she was she was retired when I met her, still is retired. And she was looking for community, she was looking for herself, and she was looking for ways to feel good. She struggled with depression and PTSD. And she had done many different things. She had done worked on therapy, psychotherapy, EMDR, medicines, religion. She actually was a nun for a while. She had tried so many things to find happiness within herself. And it wasn't until she went through Fear to Freedom and using our transformative Neuro Reiki method that she was able to feel so good and move through things. I still talk to her. She recently just stopped working with me after 3 years. And she just bought a tricycle and is taking her dog for tricycle rides. Like, she is living her life. And she actually started doing something like developing some programs in her community that she was living in, and building friendships, and has become what I call the pro manifester. Like, she's on a fixed income, but this woman manifests money in her bank account all day long. So it all can happen. And so now for you get to have some of this experience for yourself. So write down, I'm committed, I'm playing full out, I am ready to go, so that you play through today's experience 100% fully in. So if you are committed, I am committed, drop it in the chat, or just write C, committed, so I know. So for those that are just joining tonight or watching the replay, I'm Brenda Kiss, and I've helped thousands of women reduce their anxiety, overwhelm, and self-doubt to create a life of happiness, of love, of peace, by reconnecting you back to your heart, allowing you to manifest great things in your life. And I do this through my proven system, transformative Neuro Reiki, which is the fastest way to gain clarity around your inner conflict. That part of you that lives in the shoulds, like, I want to do this, but do I do this? Right? Like, it's like your ego and your spirit are constantly fighting each other for who wants to run the show. And so transformative Neuro Reiki is a great way to get rid of negative thinking, self-doubt, and allowing you to reprogram your mind and your energy to attract the things that you want in your life. So you're going to get to step outside of your comfort zone today. And who knows what happens when you step outside your comfort zone? That's where the magic of transformation happens. And you have to do things differently. You can't expect to have results if you continue to do the same thing that you're doing. In order to do something, in order to have the results that you want, you get to do things differently, right? The saying is, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, that's the definition of insanity. And expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity. So today I want you to do things different. So whether you turn your cameras on today because yesterday you didn't, whether you write in the chat because yesterday you didn't, whether yesterday you were half committed, be fully committed today. Do something different in today's class to start to shift. It takes a small, simple steps to make changes in your life. People are always looking for this big magic bullet, the little thing that's going to like make a wow, oh yeah, this is it, right? It's the small little things in your life. So if you sit close to the camera, sit further away. If you sit further away, sit closer to the camera. When you start to do those things and you start to do things differently, you actually build new neural pathways in your brain to ask your brain to start making new connections. See, you have associations all over, from the associations to different things. When you sit like this, maybe there's association to high school, having to sit through classes in high school, and you sit like this. If you have a favorite glass and you drink out of a favorite glass, that's an association. There's something in that glass that you love, you enjoy, that when you're drinking it, you have that association. Think of your favorite song, or a song of Raining Men. That song brings me right back to my 8th grade, to my senior year in high school. My friend was going through a breakup. My friend was going through a breakup. She was only 17, so she wasn't married. She was going through a breakup, and I can see us on the dance floor singing to that song. Those are called associations. So your associations create patterns. So the moment you begin to shift your patterns, you begin to make new associations, new pathways. So today, do something different. Step outside your comfort zone and do something different. That's how you're going to get different results, and that's how you're going to grow. So I want you to hear, I have what's called the ladder of climbing the ladder to goddesshood, to becoming a goddess. And I'll share with you what a goddess means, but I want you to identify where you are, because your emotions are keeping you, your emotions create stories, and their emotions and your stories are keeping you locked in a rung of this ladder. And the first level of the ladder is what I call the victim. Living in blame, living in guilt, everything is happening to you. No one's there around you. It's all, everything is everybody else's fault. There's a lot of pointing fingers, no responsibility for what's occurring in your life. It's like, I'm sick, so life's terrible, or I can't do things because I don't have the time, or I don't know, I can't do anything. I can't take classes or courses because I don't have the money. I can't do this. All of that is living in a victim mentality. The moment you live and limit yourself, you're living in a victim story. You're letting your fear you're giving up your power, meaning you have the power to create. We were created from creation, right? Like your mother and father at some point created you. We are creative beings. When we look at our life and we cannot create, meaning we can't create the time that we want, we can't create the money that you want, we can't create the relationships that you want, we can't create the health that you want, you can't create the lifestyle that you want. You put yourself on this rung. That's the victim. And you're letting your outside circumstances dictate what you get to create in this world. I've seen many people come from nothing and create unbelievable things for themselves. In fact, one of my clients, I usually share her story a little bit later. She was a single mom, moved across the country in the pandemic, and she had no idea what she was going to do. She just knew she needed to go towards Texas, from New Jersey to Texas, because that's where her mom and sister were living. She'd gone through a really horrible divorce, and she moved over there. She didn't know where she was going to live. She didn't know where her children were going to go to school. She didn't know what type of job she was going to get. She didn't know how much money she was going to get. She didn't know if she was going to be able to afford her own rent or her house or whatever. But I tell you what this woman had. She had courage and commitment to herself. Courage is the catalyst to change. Courage means is that you follow your heart even when you're scared. She had the courage to move across the country, and she also invested in Fear to Freedom, and she had the courage to become responsible for her life. Do you know she not only created, she found an apartment, she put the kids in the school district that she found that she loved. She rented and rented her first house, and now this year she's buying her very first house all on her own. And she's done that by learning herself, by climbing this ladder. She went from, surviving into life, being in the victim story, to climbing up the ladder. She went into the went into the self-healer, the next rung, the self-healer, ready to take care of herself, knowing that there is a better way, just but may not realize or know how to get there, but is totally ready to make a change in your life. And you're not going to let anyone or anything stand in your way. That's where I met Stephanie. She was stepping out of that victim and she became the healer. So as I go through this, the self-healer, as I go through this, I want you to identify where you are. Where are you so far? The self-healer is all about the journey inward, learning that you are responsible. You are the creator. It's not that you have the answers. And in fact, you don't have the answers at this point. You're just knowing that there's something better for you. And the self-healer has the courage to move forward. Then you have the healer. The healer is the woman. I'm not talking where you go to like a spiritual healer or making it a profession. I mean, healer just meaning that you share your gifts, you share who you are, you share your authentic self and your gifts of healing with others, whether that's words of kindness, whether that's prayer, whether that's inspiration, whether that's energy healing, whether that's a pat on the back or a hug or anything. I don't know your gifts yet, but when you become a healer, you're doing the self work, and now you're bringing that joy that you're finding out, and you're bringing that joy to others. And then the next ladder rung is inspired leader. An inspired leader is on a mission to help others, to help others from a place of wholeness. Because I want to say that because I was a helper. Anybody love to help people pleaser? I was a helper, but I was coming from a place of lack, of not enough, and really scared of being my own person. Versus what I'm speaking here is inspired leader. It means you are whole, perfect, and complete within you. You know that, and you're on the mission to help others, no matter what that is. But you're coming from an empowered state versus if I help you, it will make me feel better. And then you reach the top rung, which is goddess, which is feeling confident, powerful, strong, knows what you want, stands in your power. You're connected to yourself, you're connected to your higher self, and you receive and give with ease and flow. It's like you live in that magical place where people think don't truly exist, but I can tell you it truly does. And that's when you get to step into your goddess of who you are. So where are you? Drop in the chat for me. Where are you? She did take a big chance. Where are you? Are you the victim of your life right now? And maybe you're kind of like in between. Are you the self-healer? Are you the healer, the inspired leader, or the goddess? Where do you feel you fall? Where do you feel you fall? Between 1 and 2. Yeah, between the victim and the self-healer. Yeah. Yeah, so you're in that in between, and that's why you're here, right? Is to take yourself from victim to that self-healer. It's like making that next step. Self-healer to healer. Yeah, you're ready to heal more, to bring yourself out 100%. I love it. To bring your gifts forward. You fluctuate. Yeah. And the reason you fluctuate is because there's a misalignment somewhere. So you bring yourself up to whatever, leader, goddess, whatever. But if you come back down, there's misalignment in that status, I'll say, for lack of a better word. I don't really like that word status, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so it reminds me of yesterday's story. I would reach a certain weight, but I was self-sabotage because there was an internal belief, a subconscious belief that I had that didn't serve me. But I had it, and it caused me to gain weight because it was, it's a story that it was scary to be pretty, and I associated pretty with being thin. And so anytime I felt thin, I would self-sabotage. So if we're going up and down the ladder, it's because there's misalignments with what you want and what's really inside in the subconscious mind, what's locked in your heart. So I want you to take out a piece of paper. I want you to take out a piece of paper, and I want you to draw the box on your piece of paper like this. Just a box on your piece of paper. And at the top of your box, I want you to put the status, the rung of the ladder that you want to be. Where do you want to be? I'm putting goddess just for the example. That's not true for everybody. I'm just saying, I'm just putting that down. Where is it that you want to be? Okay, everybody have that? Just give me a thumbs up if you have that. Yes. Okay, awesome. All right. And now I want you to think about, what are the feelings you have, or the stories that you've created or chose to believe, that are keeping you from that status. So if I look at, when I first came into my healing journey, I was in the victim. I blamed everything on my husband. He was the cause of all my challenges. My husband and my weight. Those, I blamed everything on those. And so if I were to look at, me being in the victim story, I would say, I blamed my husband for feeling alone because he worked. I would put feeling alone in the box. I would also had a story that mothers shouldn't work. Mothers needed to be a stay-at-home. I needed to be a stay-at-home mom. That kept me as a victim, because and then I wasn't empowered to be who I was. So I had, stay at home, being a stay-at-home mom, or a belief in that moms need to be in their with their, stay home with their children. I also had a story that I didn't deserve to make money. That put me in the victim story. I had lots of story around my body, like I was never skinny enough, pretty enough. I never could dress properly. I also had like a disorganized house, so like that kept me in the victim story. Actually, having 3 kids under the age of 5, I blame them for a lot of things. Of like, I can't keep a clean house because I have these small children. I can't keep a clean house because I have 3 boys. I created a lot of stories around that. And so these are the things that I would put in the box. So think about, what are the stories, if you think about where you want to be, what are the stories that you are telling yourself right now that are stopping you from being there? And put that in the box. That's going to help you. Where I can't quite see who asked, how do you stay aligned? For Brett. So this is going to help you with that. And also on the outside of your box, put your magic feeling, the one we worked yesterday, the feeling that you want to have, whether it's love or connection or peace or security or safety. And if you weren't here for yesterday's class, just put a feeling that you feel that you want more of in your life, and put that outside your box. And then everything on the inside that's in this box that's keeping you from having that magic feeling, or being the part of the ladder that you want to be on. This is the perfect time for you to really dig in. And I know as you begin to do this, it could be uncomfortable, but you said you're committed, you're here. Let yourself feel the resistance, the heaviness of doing this, the desire of not wanting to do this, and choose a different path. Everybody got stuff inside the box? You're all still writing? Give you one more minute. Okay, so remember, your emotions are your driving are your driving force behind your actions. Emotions are your energy in motion. So everything in the world is energy, and what you're feeling in your subconscious, I want to be clear that you can't fake it till you make it. You've heard that saying, fake it until you make it, pretend to this. The universe knows if you're pretending, by the way. And so do other people. So you can't fake it till you make it. You actually have to find a way within yourself to feel what it is that you want to create, right? So everything in the world is energy, and what you are feeling in your subconscious mind and in your body will attract the experiences that you have in your life. So if you get an example, today, I went to a theme park with my children, and I was just like, it's gonna be, it might be hot, but it's gonna be easy breezy. The kids are gonna be able to do all the rides they want before we have to leave. And I sat in that feeling of ease, of fun, of connection, of joy. And guess what? We got there were no lines. They were able to do everything they wanted to do, and we were an hour earlier than we were anticipating leaving. So what you attract into your life comes from what you're believing on your subconscious level. So that's why if you're going up and down the ladders, that there's something in your subconscious that isn't in full belief of what it is that you, where you are in that moment. Your beliefs, your feelings, your stories are all your attraction factors. So I want you to look at that box. Look at the box, and I want you to see what's inside that box and tell me if it feels good or heavy. Drop it in the chat. Does it feel good or does it feel heavy? Heavy. Yeah. We could feel others heavy. Yeah. So look at, that's what you're attracting. That's the energy from which you are attracting your experiences in your life. Main theme of lack, too heavy. Yeah. So if you have these experiences, if you have these beliefs, these stories, that's what you're attracting. So how do you want something up the ladder when you're living in this? We have to break through the box. And here's one of the things I'm going to share with you. You cannot make decisions from inside the box. So if you want something different, I saw a show today, and it was just like, he drew the other day, he drew a box like this. He goes, this is people. They live in a box. I move the box. I live over here, and I think outside the box. I'm sure you all heard that, like, think outside the box. If you are constantly making decisions and choices that are within that box, that are from fear. So somebody said that their box is fear, their box is lack. If you are making decisions from fear or from lack, guess what? They're going to create more fear and lack. If you're making decisions in this heavy energy, you're going to create more heavy energy in your life. I know you're all saying, well, how do we break free from the box? Don't worry. We are going to break free from the box today. Only if you want to. It's going to come down to a choice. So here's what I've learned. The stuff that you wrote might be the surface level, right? It might be the symptom versus the true problem. Remember I talked about that yesterday? The symptom versus the true problem. And so what happens is the ego will begin to cover up the truest of I'll say the truest pain that you have, because the ego does not want you to live in pain. It doesn't want you to live in suffering. What's really funny though, by it covering up and not allowing us to live our freedom, we're still living in pain and suffering. But to take that step out, to break free, the ego is like, I don't know what's over there, so we're going to stay here. And that's when resistance shows up. That's when like you don't show up for class, or you want to do something, but then something pulls you back. right? Like you're going to exercise or meditate or something like that, and all of a sudden something else comes up. That is resistance. That's your ego saying, well, if you start doing that process over there, you might change things, and I don't know what change brings. So I'm going to keep us safe in this little box of thinking. Even though it's heavy, even though it's full of fear, even though it's full of lack, I'm just going to keep you here. And when I say ego, I want you to be clear. I don't mean you're like this egotistical version of yourself. I mean the ego that protects you, the ego that keeps us alive, that tells us to eat when we're hungry, that tells us to move when a car is coming, right? Or if there's danger, it tells us to get out of the way. I'm specifically talking about the ego that's keeping you locked in this box because it's scared to go out and see what's outside there. It's scared to take the walls down. That's the part we want to work on today. The ego doesn't want you to feel pain or suffering or hurt, so it will literally start covering things up and burying feelings and burying your emotions and create beliefs and stories to keep you inside your box, in your safe zone, in your comfort zone. Even if your comfort zone, the safe zone, the box is uncomfortable. So here's what I've learned and what I witnessed for, I've been doing this work for almost a decade, just about a decade. I'm 6 months away from a decade. And what I've seen is that when people work on themselves with coaches or on their own, or even with self-help books and things like that, you put shit on top of an ice cream cone. I want you to think about this. What's your favorite? I mean, you put the ice cream on top of the shit. So think about all the stuff inside your box. It's still there. So if I told you to just go think positively, just change your mindset, just change this, just change that, the crap in the box is still in you, is it not? So imagine you have an ice cream cone and you put the ice cream on it, but you didn't remove the shit. When you go to eat your ice cream, your favorite flavor, on top of the shit, what's the ice cream going to smell like, maybe taste like, and maybe even look like? Shit. Right? So we have to remove the shit. And so many people, so many I'll just say coaches and guides and things out there, that's what they do. They work on positive thinking, shifting your mindset. Not that that's not important, but if you're not going to remove the shit, well, you guys all just notice what's in your box. We can't put good on top of bad. The bad will seep through. The other common thing that I see people doing is what's called a spiritual bypassing, or ignoring and stuffing down stuff that no need to feel that. Just move here. Just good vibes, be in good vibes. Don't worry about that, right? And they just ignore it, or they numb their emotions. We don't need to feel it. We can use drugs. We can use alcohol. We can use other people's problems. We can stay busy enough that we don't need to deal with our own stuff. We can numb ourselves out, right? So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take you through a little process, and I want to just share with you to see what else you can put in the box, because we're going to work on getting rid of the box, but I want to make sure it's not surface level stuff. I want to make sure it's deep stuff. I worked for years on my weight. If I just lose weight, I'll be happy. If I just lose weight, I'll be happy. If I just lose weight, I'll be happy. If I just made more money, I'll be happy. If I just made more money, I'll be happy. If I just made more money, I'll be happy. If I just had more time, I would be happy. If I just had more time, I would be happy. Right? Anybody relate? Like, that was the way I used to think. If I was in better shape, better health. And I remember getting so mad and so frustrated and so angry over my weight, no matter what size I was never, ever happy. And the problem was, I was working on the surface, the symptom. I was working on the symptom. I was working on my weight when when truly the problem was the belief system that I had that I already shared with you, that um, it was scary to be pretty, right? So I got to work on releasing the feeling of being scared. That was inside my box, being scared. And there was also shame in there and guilt and other things in there. So it wasn't until I dug in deeper that I was able to find the true root. So that's what I want to do for you right now. So right now I want you to just take a minute and and close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, just take a nice deep breath in and out. One more deep breath in and out. One more deep breath together and exhale. And just allow yourself to come into this moment and give yourself permission just to begin to feel. This may be new territory. It may not be. But as you allow yourself to begin to feel now, what's the deepest emotion you have that's holding you back from being where you want to be? Continuing with your eyes closed, what's the deepest emotion you have that's holding you back from where you want to be? What's the deepest emotion you have that's holding you back from where you want to be? What's the deepest emotion you have that's holding you back from where you want to be? And whatever the answers were, go ahead and write them inside your box. And just kind of star those ones. Notice if it's anything different than what you had before. I want you to just for a moment to take a moment to reflect. Here's where you get to really allow yourself to feel, to notice, to tune into yourself. What will happen if nothing changes and you stay living inside that box? You can write the answers inside your box, or you could just think about it. What will happen if nothing changes and you stay inside your box? Think about what it's cost you already to stay inside this box. What has it already cost you? Look at your health, your relationships, income. What's it held you back from doing or being? Name some specific things that staying in this box has held you back from. Give yourself permission to get uncomfortable. Go there. Feel into this. Notice if resistance is coming up or fear is coming up or the I don't want to do this exercise. Notice if any of that's coming up for you and say, okay, I notice you, I see you, and I'm still going to answer these questions. You can't remove the heaviness. You can't remove the shit without feeling it, without realizing what's the impact of holding on to this. I told you yesterday when you came, my goal and mission was for you to have a transformation, and here's your opportunity to do that. Here's your opportunity to put inside that box all of the stories and beliefs that are holding you back from where you want to be. What's it costing you? What's the impact? I always say, what's the ripple effect of this thinking? How is it impacting your relationships, your loved one, your intimacy, or lack of relationships, or lack of intimacy? Everybody just drop a yes in the chat if you feel like you put all inside the box what you could. Or a thumbs up if your camera's on and I can see you. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. Okay. Very good. Okay, so sit back, close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, just tuning deeper into your body. Another deep breath in. And exhaling, just getting more in touch with you. One more deep breath in. If you haven't closed your eyes, go ahead and close them now. Exhaling, going deeper and deeper into yourself. Right now, I want you to think of your box. And as you think of what's inside your box, just begin to notice what you feel, what you see, the memories that come forth, the things you hear. Notice if your box is in one location or multiple locations. It has a color, a texture to it. If it's moving or still. If it has any sensations, the temperature. Just allow yourself to feel it and realize that you've been holding on to this, and just identify for yourself for how long. And feel the length of time that you've been holding on to it. Feel it in your body. Notice it. And as you allow yourself to feel it, you realize that you are giving yourself permission to feel it, to release it. And right next to you in your mind's eye is an imaginary, magical tool bag. And in this bag of tools is the exact tool that you get to use to release, to break free from your box. Some people use a vacuum, some people use a hammer, some people use a saw, some people use their guides to ask their angels, some people use light, some people just use their imagination and imagining it going away. Some people use Tinkerbell and magical pixie dust. You have the answer within you. You know right now what it is that your tool will do to help you right now to break free from the box. And as you pull out your tool, you also notice that right next to you is a container that when you start to use your tool, you get to put all of the box into that container. One way or another. Maybe you make the box smaller and smaller and smaller, and you have a little fishing rod and the rod pulls it out. Maybe you've already thought of something different for yourself. Whatever it is for you, begin to use your tool now. And as you use your tool right now, you begin to notice bits and pieces, if not all of it, of your box heading into the container that is right there holding the container. And the container is big enough and it can expand enough to hold whatever is in your box. And allow yourself now to continue to use your tool. And as you use your tool, you begin to notice a shift within your body, within the way you feel, things clearing out of your mind, the sounds getting softer, and allow your magic tool to happen now, using it to go into the container. As a matter of fact, as I count down from 10 to 1, by the time I get to 1, all of the boxes in the container, all the memories, all the sounds, all the feelings, all the sensations, all the colors of your box is in the container. By the time I get to 1, 10, releasing it now. That's right. And you'll be surprised at how easy the subconscious mind does the work for you right here, right now. 9, letting it go. 8, releasing. 7, you got this, letting your tool do all the work. 6, 5, 4, that's right. 3, letting it out. 2, 1, keeping your eyes closed. Put a lid of some sort on the container. And now just take a quick scan from the top of your head, just bringing white light down from the top of your head, clearing out any more of the box. From the top of your head down through your face, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your back, your midsection, down through your stomach and your lower back, your hips, just clearing out any residual leftovers of the box, down through your legs, through your feet. And then it bounces back up and it goes up even faster now, clearing everything out. Anything that is cleared is put into the container or released and transmuted into love. Coming back up through your body. That's right. And now you get to ship the container away or put it somewhere. You don't have to ship it anywhere. You get to put it wherever you want. You get to send it wherever you want. I've had people bury it into the earth and let the earth take it, drop it into the ocean, send it out to the universe. Whatever it is, that whatever feels right to you, as long as it's far away and not able to return, where you can no longer see it, sense it, or feel it, allow yourself now to get rid of the container. As a matter of fact, as I count down from 3 to 1, by the time I get to 1, the container is no longer in your vision, in your sight, in your feeling. You can no longer sense it, see it, feel it, hear it. 3, 2, 1, poof, gone. And as it's gone right now, imagine this beautiful energy ball at the top of your head. And in this energy ball are the characteristics, the sensations, the feelings of your magic feeling that you desire more of, as well as the status on the ladder that you want to bring in. Just imagine what that's like, and allow yourself, as you begin to imagine what's in that energy ball, to come down through the top of your head, and it just begins to melt down through your body. And as it does, you begin to feel the sensations of your magic feeling. You get to hear what it's like to have these sensations. You notice things shifting within you as this magic energy feeling ball is coming down through the top of your head, melting down through the rest of your body, and just allowing it to flow down and through you, making its way all the way through your body, all the way through you, all the way down to your feet, allowing your entire body to fill up with this magic feeling. And as you fill up with this magic feeling, just begin to notice how your body feels. Notice the sensations, the energy that's flowing through you. Intensify this feeling, amplify everything about this experience in this moment, and allow yourself right now to begin to see things that are possible for you now. New beliefs, new stories that you get to tell yourself too, of who you are and what you get to create. What is this magic feeling and these characteristics of these magic feelings, of the status on the ladder? Allow yourself to feel them, to see them, to experience them now. And as you own this experience, what do you get to tell yourself now? What new story do you get to tell yourself? What new belief do you get to tell yourself? What new way of feeling do you get to live? And taking all this in a moment, you'll come back, and on your second sheet of paper, you will just write down all of these different experiences kind of all over your paper. 3, 2, 1. As you pick up the pen, just allow it to flow out. I'll give you one more minute. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at your two papers and decide which story do you want to keep? Which paper do you want to keep? The first one or the second one? Drop it in the chat. Which one do you want to keep? Number one that you did, the box, or the expanded version of you? Which one do you want to keep? Two. Yes, you get to decide. Everything comes down to your decision. You can decide to stay in the first one, or you can go into the expanded version. Yes, yes, number two. Yes, yes. Awesome. So you get to decide what you do with the first one, but for now you can rip it up and put it somewhere. But after our class, you get to get rid of it, whether outside of your house, like put it in the trash outside of your house or whatever you want to do with it. It can no longer be part of you. You get to get rid of it. Are you committed to that? Drop down C in the chat if you were committed to getting rid of it. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so here's what I want to tell you what happens. You're going to burn it. That's up to you. Whatever you feel comfortable doing is good for you. Love it. Love it. Here's what happens is you guys just went through a breakthrough. First of all, drop down in there. Give me some of the feelings or the new things that are coming up in that new box, in that new way of thinking, in that expanded version of you. What's a new thought or new feeling, a new emotion? What did you experience? Just drop down something in there so we can just all tap into that a little bit, into the feelings of what's coming up and coming through from you. Excited, euphoric, happy. Yes, love it. That's your truth. Light, empowerment, free. Yes, yes. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I see some others typing. I'll give a second. Beautiful. Fearless. Woohoo. Love it. So good. So good. And so success, accomplished, loved, healthy, strong, and not alone. Woohoo. Awesome. Beautiful. So here's what happens. You just made this huge process. You just went through this huge process, whether you realize it or not. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So what you did is you didn't destroy anything. You just removed the attachment to the heavy box and reprogrammed it to all these new beautiful feelings, right? But when we're stressed, when life happens, guess what our body will automatically do? Go back to what's familiar until your familiar is no longer the box. So I'm going to give you a tool to use to stop yourself from going back to what's familiar. Who's excited about that? Who's like, yes, I would love that because I don't want to go back to what the old version of yourself, right? And so what happens when we have a way of thinking, just think about this. We think a thought, it creates a neuro pathway. And we continue to think this thought, it continues to create neuroplasticity, and the thought in that brain pattern begins to get thicker, right? So what we did is we just jumbled it all up, created a new one. But do you see how this is a new thought? It doesn't have the thick neuroplasticity to it like the old thoughts did. It's a new thought, right? So what we get to exercise that. I would write affirmations, positive statements that are connected to the energy of your box. That's not the thing I was going to give you. That's just something that came to me. I was like, yeah, do that. And then what will happen is when we are stressed, we go back to survival and we'll go back to our old patterns until till these patterns get thicker, the new patterns that you just made, and they become the new old. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everybody give me a thumbs up if you understand. Okay. So I'll give you an example. When my kids were little, I had 3 sons under the age of 5, and I have very energetic boys. And I was a stay-at-home mom. I spent every living moment with them. I gave them 110% of my day every day. And when it was bedtime, I was done. I had no more gas in my tank, nothing left to give them. And they would get, what's that called? The witching hour. If you have kids, you know what I mean? They get like that second wind at bedtime, and then they're like running around and jumping all around. And I would lose my crap. I would start yelling at them. I would be so annoyed and frustrated because I was done. I was tired. I was ready for bed myself, you know. But that's not the mom I wanted to be. But that's the association. That's the pattern of thinking, just like your old one that you ripped up. That's the pattern of thinking you had. That was the pattern of thinking I had. And I had to do what's called a pattern interrupt to break my new thoughts. So anytime any of that old box starts to show up, you get to do what's called a pattern interrupt. Okay. And this pattern interrupt is something that's going to shake you up, that's going to get you to think something different, that's going to interrupt the thought process, that takes the neuroplasticity that I just talked about and was like, oh, no, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to make that work. So your pattern interrupt could be whatever you want. It's going to be a movement and a sound. And this may be super silly, but I can tell you it works amazingly because your brain literally is confused for a moment and doesn't know what to do. And then you get to remind yourself of who you are in your expanded version here. Right. So when my kids were screaming and yelling, I started counting. Right. And did you ever hear that parenting? 1, 2, 3, getting better, 3, 2, 1, whatever. But all I was doing was yelling numbers. I was still yelling. And that's not what I wanted. So I started to break out in song. So I would go, stop in the name of love. And I would dance in the room, and they all literally would stop and look at me because it was a different pattern. It was a new way of thinking. I was creating a new thought pattern. And I would say, okay, guys, it's time to get ready for bed. Everybody get in bed. And sure enough, they would, because now they're not running the same pattern again, right? It's a new pattern. I used to do this in the car. They used to fight in the car all the time. Actually, they were fighting today. I could have did this. I forgot. It's been a long time since they fought in the car. But I used to take on an additional personality. So they would start fighting. I'd be like, oh, my God, Belinda's here and she doesn't like fighting. Can we please stop fighting? They'd be like, Mom. And I'm like, no, this is Belinda. If you're going to fight, I'm going to be Belinda. And so they would literally stop fighting because I didn't yell at them. I didn't scream. I broke up their way of thinking. So what you're going to do is create a pattern interrupt to break up your own thinking, right? Your own thought process. So it's going to be super simple. It could be whatever you want it to be. It's a silly sound. It's a silly word. I've had people use hairy peanuts. Hairy peanuts. I know you all heard something different, but they said hairy peanuts. And see, I already interrupted your pattern. And so you can use hairy peanuts. I've had people use bananas, like banana split. Somebody says chocolate bunnies. I have people people use mine, stop in the name of love. You can make up a different personality and give yourself a name and say, or you could just go blah, blah, blah. It could be anything. But it gets to come from you. You get to decide what it is. So decide right now what it is. What is it for you? Is it fuzzy bunnies? Is it lickety splits? So make a sound and a movement. It could be anything. It could be like, oh, I think of like the Three Stooges, la, 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 right? So it could be anything, whatever you want it to be. And I know this is silly, but look at what it's already doing. It's already shifting your energy. It's already making you feel different, think different, and have a different experience, right? So imagine using this when that old box wants to come back. So if you can drop in the chat what you're going to do that. I know sometimes if it's a sound, you can't, but just let me know if you have yours, because we're going to give this a practice run. Yes? Okay. I got one yes. You got a song, Heather? Okay, good. I have it, Lynn. All right. All right. All right. So what you're going to do, you're going to go like this. You're going to stand up. And for a moment, you're going to think of your old box. And you're going to think of your old box. Mine was, I'm scared. I'm going to say mine was, I'm scared to be pretty. And then you're going to go, stop. And you're going to do whatever yours is. And you're going to say the truth is, and then you're going to name something on your new sheet, whatever your new expanded version is. Okay. Ready? Here we go. It's scary to be pretty. Stop. I am beautiful just how I am. Yes, I love it. Awesome. Awesome. Ready? Gotta do it. Do it. This, if you're not participating, I'll tell you what it is. Resistance to change. Your ego wants you to stay right where you are. That's right. So you can turn your camera off. I don't need to see if you're shy on the camera and that's stopping you. Step outside the camera. Just allow yourself to do this. Allow yourself to move through the resistance and have it. So you're just going to go, stop in the name of love. I am beautiful. Yes, whatever it is. Awesome. Awesome. For those that did it, congrats. For those that want to do it but haven't yet, congrats. For those that choose, you can sit down feeling awesome. There you go, Larissa. I saw you. Way to break free. How'd it feel? Uncomfortable, but freeing, I'm sure. Beautiful. And you really, Larissa, I know we're joking, but I want you to just acknowledge you moving through your resistance right there. You moving through, that is big, that is huge, and you get to celebrate yourself for that. For anybody that was hesitant and then went for it, and those that weren't hesitant and did, but, and you get to celebrate yourself. But, you know, when we make that decision to do something outside of our comfort zone, growth is happening. Growth, it's only available outside of our comfort zone. So be super proud of yourself. Yay, awesome, awesome. So here's your work, your homework is to get rid of the old box. You cannot make decisions from inside that box any longer. You have to get rid of it. And when you find yourself inside that box, you get to use your pattern interrupt and declare who you are and make a decision from that space. From that space. So if you wake up and you say you're going to do something, but you feel like you don't want to do it, that's the old box. You got to give yourself the pattern interrupt and then declare, no, I am this version. And so you're going to do it. Make sense? Awesome. Drop in the chat for me what your breakaway was, and then I'll tell you what we have moving forward. What was your, what did you break through tonight? You were feeling this way and now you're feeling this way. You had these thoughts and now you have these thoughts. What was that for you tonight? Feeling good. I see people typing from depression to happiness. Awesome. How much I'm living in my box because of ego and how you get to break free. Yes. Yes. Awesome. So while the rest are coming in, I want to share with you If you haven't joined the Facebook group, go join the Facebook group. Not to accept fear as a choice. Love that. Yes, we don't want fear to run the show. It only brings more fear. Yes, tools to break free. So if you haven't joined our Facebook group, copy the link that Irish is about to drop down. Or she didn't. Let's see. It's right here. I'll copy and paste. We have posts and conversations and things happening in there as well. Also, if you did not buy the VIP bundle today, I'm going to highly recommend it. You get some really great access to some really great things. One of them is that we do a 30-minute call at the end of this and really dive into whatever you need support around. It's only $27. You get a one-on-one call with my coach. It's a 20-minute call for you to help you in whatever area that you're looking for support. And then you get some additional trainings, recorded trainings available to you. And then next week on July 19th, we will be doing our 1-hour transformative Nora Reiki healing. So great opportunity to be very supported for only $27. So you can click the link and come join us. Tomorrow you're going to have a chance to go through another breakthrough, but really creating a vision of where you want to go, right? If we look at the 3 days, yesterday was all about tuning in. Today was breaking through some of that limited thinking, and now creating from this new space of these new thought patterns of this light, this love, of this happiness that you're in, creating a vision for your future and a way to get that way, a way to get there. So you want to actually, so come live to that event. I think it's one of the best ones to come live to. It's really super powerful. It's called Rediscover Your True Story. You're going to really begin to tap into who you truly are. It will be fantastic. We have a bonus class on Friday and a couple other ones happening for you in the Facebook groups. So you want to head over to the Facebook group and so that you can see the bonus trainings that we'll be doing in there. That's what I have for you tonight. I can't wait to spend more time with you. So your growth work is to get rid of your old box tonight and then to use your pattern interrupt. For those that are in the VIP, please hang tight while everybody else leaves and we'll get started there. All right, everybody have a wonderful night. If you're not in the VIP and want to be, you can stay and use the payment link after the session. And for those that are here, stay with us.